The water, mist is rising on the mountainside. Leaves are blooming in the ash tree. Robin's looking for something sweet. Where I'm sitting beneath the eaves, not one drop will find me. A little seedling is breaking through, persistent as the thought of you. Looking out into a sea of green, thinking on the years and miles that lie between. It seems so long ago, but you're still on my mind, you know. I go walking through the trees, the water dances over stones. The April morning is clean and new, but a breeze has brought the thought of you. Looking out into a sea of green, thinking on the years and miles that lie between. It seems so long ago, but you're still on my mind, you know. I sat down by the riverside, fearing I could drink it dry and still not be satisfied. The banks are full with all this rain. If they'll overflow, I can't say. The crickets calling in the firelight, and a long and gentle sleep tonight. Looking out into a sea of green, thinking on the years and miles that lie between. It seems so long ago, but you're still on my mind. Yeah, you're still on my mind, you know. You know. Still on my mind, you know. The night is louder than it's been before. I hear it knocking on my walls and doors. then soon enough it's time to go. But these precious hours I keep you close. Of all the nights in recent memory, there were so many you were far from me, and I just hurt my heart keeping lonely time, wishing yours was there to echo mine. If the papers would all print old news, they'd say I'm still in love with you. Let the years go by, it remains the same. What we've got is gold, and what it's worth won't change. Well, I fear I turned you upside down when I tore you from your hometown, just to make you wait at home for me. Keep this fire alive tirelessly. But if your patience ever reached an end, tell me, baby, what would I do then? Say that it's alright to ease my mind, though you told me so 1,000 times. If the papers would all print old news, they'd say I'm still in love with you. Let the years go by, it remains the same. What we've got is gold, and what it's worth won't change. All along the road, these faces seem to come and go, but yours, my love, will never fade. If the papers would all print old news, they'd say I'm still in love with you. Let the years go by, it remains the same. What we've got is gold, and what it's worth won't change. Won't change. Just before our love got lost, you said, I am as constant as a northern star. And I said, constantly in the darkness, where's that at? If you want me, I'll be in the bar, on the back of a cartoon coaster. in a blue TV screen light. I drew a map of Canada, oh Canada, with your face sketched on it twice. Hi everybody, welcome to another Wednesday evening. Hey Freebo.
Hi Alice, how you doing?
I am great. It's nice to see you from afar yet again.
Yeah, we're 3,000 miles away. How about that?
It's true. I am still at my mom's house in Boston, and I'm coming back to LA tomorrow, so this is our last fully remote episode, but we're making it work. Fully remote.
Yeah. You've been enjoying yourself in Boston?
I have. I've been having a really good time. It's been less of a vacation, more of a whirlwind of time with my 3-year-old nephew and other family members, but it's been really fun. I've been in a sandbox all day today.
Is he running you wild?
He is. He puts you to work, you know? There's never a dull moment. Mm-hmm. So I am so excited about tonight's guest, Freebo.
Yeah,
I thought maybe
me
we
too.
could just talk about her a little bit before I play a song, or should I play a song and then we talk her up? What do you think?
Well, why don't you play a song and then we'll talk about it and then we'll bring her in,
right.
Okay?
Okay, that sounds good. And by the way, folks, you are listening to WPVM FM 103.7 on the dial and globally at WPVMFM.org, and that is out of Asheville, North Carolina. And we're so grateful to be on the radio with you all. So thanks for watching on Facebook and YouTube. If you guys are able to hit that share button on Facebook, that really helps more folks find it. And there's only 2 more episodes of Inside Live after tonight, so
that's right.
We'd love to use these next few Wednesday nights to really get the word out about the show. So we appreciate that.
What you gonna play, Alice?
Well, I was thinking of playing one of the newer songs that you and I were working on together, and that's going to be on my new record. It's called "The Things I'm Not Saying."
Ah, love that one. I wish I could be with you. I'll be playing here. Nobody will hear me, but I will.
I will know that you're playing.
Oh, good.
All right, here goes. It's all quiet now at the end of the day. Unpacked my suitcase. I put the dishes away. It's not hard to stay busy. I got so much to do. If I stop, I'll get caught with the things that I'm not saying to you. I heard you've been traveling. I heard you're doing all right. You got some new girlfriend, moving on with your life. But I'm still full of questions. Do you wonder too? Do you still save a spot for the things that I'm not saying to you? I block it out, I play pretend, I write you letters that I can't send. I get so tired of doing what's right. I don't want to be tongue-tied the rest of my life. I bought a new car and I moved to LA. There's just something about it. I don't care what they say. I can walk in the sunshine on the days I feel blue. It's the best place I got to escape what I'm not saying to you. I block it out and I play pretend. I write you letters that I can't send. I still know your number. This could be the night, but I don't want to be tongue-tied the rest of my life. I needed to fly, and I needed to grow. I ain't telling you nothing you don't already know, but I still keep you with me. We both know that it's true. No, I haven't forgot all the things that I'm not saying to you. No, I haven't forgot all the things that I'm not saying to you.
That was gorgeous. I would expect nothing less from you, Alice.
What do you mean?
Well, I said it was gorgeous.
Oh, I didn't. Oh,
yeah, you didn't hear
you.
that part. Yeah. No, it's beautiful. I love that song. Can't wait to record that down in Muscle Shoals. That's going to be so cool.
I am so excited. It's just over a month away now.
I know. Hey, tell the folks a little bit about Wendy, and then I'll just say a little bit about my experience with her.
Yes, I am so excited to have Wendy Waldman on our show tonight. We've talked about getting her on for months since we started, and I'm just so happy this could happen before the end. So Wendy has had a very diverse career in the music business. She got her start in the 70s in LA with a group called Brindle, which was formed with Carla Bonoff, Andrew Gold, and Kenny Edwards. I am a huge fan of Kenny Edwards. I can't wait to talk to her about him and their work together. And Wendy is a critically acclaimed recording artist on her own. She's a writer of multi-platinum songs. She's a distinguished female record producer, which I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about too. She is a lifelong student. I just really admire her, and I'm just really excited to get to chat with her a little bit. What were you going to say, Freebo, to add to that?
Well, I mean, it's not a whole lot to add to that, except that I've known Wendy now for about 50 years, and we'll talk about it. But I remember when she was making her first record, and I first heard her play and heard her sing, and just was always very impressed, and just an amazing career that she just continues to go, for a half a century, and just keeps getting better. And we even talked about, practicing and taking piano lessons, and just constantly improving the craft, and it's so admirable. So let's bring her in and let her talk about herself a little bit.
Hey, Wendy.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hey, Wendy.
Welcome to the show.
The songs are absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been writing a lot this year. It's been a good time for writing for me.
You guys are cutting in Muscle Shoals.
We are.
We are at Fame Studios.
Who's playing?
Well, I put a band together. A buddy of mine played in Bonnie's band. 5 years we played together. I was with Bonnie for 10 years, and 5 of that Will was with a guy named Will McFarlane. And when he left Bonnie in 1980, he went down to Muscle Shoals and became part of the Muscle Shoals rhythm section, was actually inducted into the Nashville Musicians Hall of Fame as part of the Muscle Shoals. I'm not sure if he's not literally one of the Swampers, but he's an honorary member of the Swampers.
He's the next generation.
He's the next, that's what I was going to say, he's the next generation.
Well, he's no youngster, but a guy that he got as a drummer, a guy named Justin Holder, who is a Roger Hawkins clone. Roger
local
just died
guy.
about Yeah, Roger just died about 2 weeks ago, but he learned all the stuff from Roger, and he really comes from that fat back, serious R&B background. And a guy, actually a friend of Alice's that I got turned on to, been playing with the Indigo Girls for a long time, guitar player named Jeff Fielder. And
good friend of mine from Seattle.
My old buddy Mark Jordan. I don't know if you know Mark T. Jordan. And we were in a band called Edison Electric together. And when we split up, and I went with Bonnie, he went with Van Mars, and he's played with Winona and Bonnie and Jackson and so many people, Dave Mason. So it's a great band, and we spent 2 days down there, Wendy, and it sounded so good. And we just took the roughs out, and the bottom end was just off the charts.
Like the rough mixes, good. Wendy, leaving in the rental car, like I was just like blown back against the seat. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, couldn't wait to go back. So we've been waiting throughout COVID, and finally we're going to go in July. So
that's excellent.
Very exciting.
Thanks for asking.
Excellent.
Which
really
of course
good.
you can relate to, because you are quite the producer.
Yeah.
And we were talking earlier that apart from your own stuff, that you just produced a thing with. Why don't you tell us about the thing you did with John Cowan? And
I want to tell you one thing first that I hope you'll. The reason I refer to this, the Swampers, the first generation, in 1974, I was still being produced as a solo artist by Chuck Plotkin.
I remember that.
We had done my first album for Warner Brothers out here in LA, and Chuck decided, and I fought him on this. He decided that the second album had to be done in Muscle Shoals. And I didn't want to do it. I really felt, and this stuff happens with producers and artists, but long story short, we indeed went to Muscle Shoals, and we cut my second album, Gypsy Symphony, with Barry Beckett, David Hood, Roger Hawkins, Jimmy Johnson, and Pete Carr.
Wow.
And
was it at Muscle Shoals Sound?
Yeah.
Was it at the little studio?
Yeah.
Or was it Fame?
No, it was Muscle Shoals.
They were on their own at that. They'd gone off.
They had just done Aretha. They had just done Traffic. Traffic. Wow. They had done Traffic and Paul Simon, not Aretha. I'm sorry. And it was a great, even though it's not what I wanted to do with my music. It was an incredible experience. And many, many years later, when I wound up in Nashville, of course, I ran across Barry Beckett again, and it was he was always, I had a terrible crush on Barry Beckett. So it's been sad for all of us to watch those guys, they're coming and going, but it was an incredible experience. And I still, it's funny because that album still sells for me a lot. And there's aspects of it that I don't like, but the tracks were brilliant.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot from those guys, I must say.
Yeah.
I learned a lot
down there.
I actually produced early on, when I signed with Warner's in 72, I already knew I wanted to produce records. I was arranging, and Chuck Plotkin did push me to do arrangements, and that first album was a serendipity for me, because it got so much critical acclaim that I'm still coasting on that shit, that stuff 50 years later. I'm still a critically acclaimed artist. And
right.
I read that in your bio.
And it's something that it's like you have one of two ways to go. Either people really respect you, or else maybe you get a big honking hit. But, I'll take, the respect has done okay for me. I never was a rock star. I sure wanted to be, don't we all? And I hung around, I worked for them, I worked with them. But I have to say that the road that has happened for me has been so incredible. I couldn't write it. No one would kind of believe it. And among the steps that happened where I wound up producing records. And I got my real start in Nashville, which is ironic because I remember telling Lenny Waronker in 1974 at Warner's, I'm going to produce for you someday, not realizing that, other than a couple of women jazz producers, that was unheard of. And he wasn't going for it. And it turns out, decades later, I did produce for Warner Brothers, but for Warner's Nashville. The irony of that is not lost on me to this day, that here I was, a Jewish girl in a purple leather jacket down in Nashville. And
do you have any sequins on it or not?
no sequins. I'm a princess, man. I'm not, we don't need sequins. The label was enough, and the respect that I found from that community for me as a record producer. It's ironic because in those days you would have said, well, LA is going to open their doors to women before Nashville is. And here I wound up producing for every label. I produced for MCA and Sony and Warner's and Reunion. I did a Christian album, and it was the first album I ever did down there. And I went in and told the management, I said, I'm from the other tribe, right? I'm from the old tribe, right?
The old tribe.
I'm from the first book, as my son would say.
Yeah,
Of the
the Old
trilogy,
Testament.
I'm in the first Abrahamic book, not the second. And they said, we know who you are. We know you. We want you to do this job. So, okay, go figure. And I produce to this day. I'm still producing, but I'm an independent. It's been many years since I was. When I moved back to LA, I was certain that nobody was going to roll over and ask me to do whatever at the time, even Van Halen or whoever was still around. And I've been doing a lot of independent work for many years. And I love it because as an independent, which you guys know very well, nobody's telling you what to track or how to do it.
Isn't that the best?
And to do that, I've had studios. I mean, I've built several. And of course, they're not the equal of, but they work pretty dang well. No complaints.
Well, it's not as much about the equipment as it is the people who's running it, and the people who are putting the music together and the players and the arrangements and the songs. I've always felt that. I mean, it's nice to have good equipment.
And positioning the
you want good sound.
microphone, just so.
Of course.
I
Oh, yeah.
Well, we used to joke in Nashville, especially when I started tracking in Nashville in the mid 80s. The snare sounds were all, it was everybody, you remember Freebo, you may not, Alice, but it was like, hey man, the snare sound, how's your snare sound? And I finally got to the point where I said, I've never heard the story yet where out in Oklahoma, Jethro says to me, Mom and I would have loved to have bought that Forrester Sisters record, but we just didn't like the snare sound.
Snare sound.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we think it's a winner.
Oh God, that's so true. Have you been, Wendy, to Royal Studios in Memphis?
No.
We got to go visit because a friend of ours lives there. We were on the road and we went to go visit Boo Mitchell and his where he runs his father's Willie Mitchell studio there still. And the drums were just like slightly caked in dust and just like exactly where they were 50 years ago, and like no one will touch them because it's this precious like like the dust is important.
Well, not just it literally the same tape, you put tape on the snare drums, and it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
My son inherited a pedal of Andrew Gold's from Leslie because Leslie knows that Abe loved Andrew very much. And my son is a superb musician. And he inherited this, I don't know what it is. Abe's a big pedal freak. And there were still the black marks and the tape. And he said, this will never.
Yeah.
He said, whatever settings I get on any pedal of Andrew's, I have a lot to learn from those settings. So.
Hey, Wendy, why don't you play a song for us?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's more fun talking.
I know.
Oh, we'll talk plenty.
We'll get back to it.
My only disclaimer is I had appendicitis a while back, so I'm not sure how I'm singing, but I have commitment and personality. So if I'm out of tune.
And Wendy, I should say it's a short while back with the appendicitis. Not very long.
It was a very short while back.
Very short while back. Yeah.
This is a Zen farming song I wrote with the great songwriter Donnie Lowry. We hear that Garth Brooks likes to play it in concert. We're praying that one day he'll record it. I recorded this with Newgrass Revival on their final album, and other friends, I believe Kathy Mateus cut it. A lot of people have enjoyed singing this song, Plant Your Fields. My father said, some things you learn by only doing when it comes your turn. Everything comes around, so be ready while you can. Prepare your heart like the farmer turns the land. You plant your fields when the spring is tender. When the summer beats down, you pray for rain. You hope for the harvest and the long cold winter. And then you plant your fields again. He spoke right to my restless soul, still wild and hungry and beyond control. For all that you dream, well, there's a time and a place, but you won't know it until it comes your way. You plant your fields when the spring is tender. When the summer beats down, you pray for rain. You hope for the harvest and the long cold winter. And then you plant your fields again. When the summer beats down, you pray for rain. You hope for the harvest and the long cold winter. And then you plant your fields again. Plant your fields again. You plant your fields again. You plant your fields.
Very cool, Wendy.
Great choice.
Love that song.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Love that song.
Thanks,
I hope
guys.
Garth
You got
does
so many
record
good
it.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great.
Thank you, because I'm a songwriter, and you hope that
Great.
you've got a few good ones. I try to hide the really bad ones. But
Do you
sometimes-
write? Do you toss a lot, or do you like finish everyone and try to make everyone where you're really satisfied with it, or do you ever say
I
forget
have
it?
cassettes going back to 1968, child, and and there's thousands of them. I'm trying to archive them all. I've got a little archive desk now in my studio where you can walk in and go, oh, here's a Brindle thing, and let's copy it while we're, doing something else. There's thousands of bits of music that are lying dormant. There's a lot of starts that. I mean, I'm one of those writers where I'll start something and I'm really excited about it, and then I don't usually finish it for a year or 2 or 10. I'll go away from it, and then I'll come back to it years later or months later, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I also discovered about myself, I don't know if I still do it, but I would write prototypes. I would write, 3 songs with a certain kind of a lick, like one after another, or a passage or a harmonic thing. And I finally realized one day, you're just trying to, and the last one was usually the best. Oh, I've been trying to write this tune.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting as a collaborator also, and as a songwriter to learn about the process, to study. I did not come into the world as a collaborator. I was brought into collaboration by the great Eric Kaz, and after I'd been writing for a decade. So I made it my business to sort of study like how each of my collaborators worked. For example, I discovered with the great Phil Galdston, with whom I wrote, and John Lind, Save the Best for Last and The Sweetest Days, and I Owe You One. I noticed about Phil one day, because he's a keyboard player, he'd play this amazing change, and you'd go, oh, that's great. And as a keyboard player, and Freebo's laughing, he knows this already, he'd go, oh, you like that? Would you like this?
Yeah.
How about this? And then you go, no, that other one. Which one was that?
Yeah. No.
So I learned always to be running tape. I learned early, a Walkman, whatever it was. Now your phone, always. And I've taught Abe that too, Abraham. Like, don't sit down without running tape, even if you're going to throw it out,
Yeah.
Like,
You're so right. I've lost so
No,
many
Freebo.
friends.
Hang on. Something's wrong with your sound all of a sudden, Freebo. Maybe a cord's
all
loose or something.
distorted. He's distorted. I don't know what happened. That was so weird.
Can you hear me now?
It's still pretty distorted. I think a cord might be loose or something. It's kind of a weird.
It happened last week too, Freebo.
I didn't change anything.
Oh, now you're
Now
back.
you're back.
I'm back.
Oh, kind
technology
of.
stuff.
There are ghosts in this room.
Whoa, it's really weird, Freebo. It's coming in and out. Maybe you should
Just do a reboot, maybe.
What did I do?
Yeah, Freebo, maybe you should leave and restart and come back. I just don't want it to happen while you're playing.
I don't want that either.
I mean, it's like fine now.
Okay, bye.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But... Oh
Fine.
no. Kicked him out of his own show.
Is that my phone?
Oh, he's still here. Well, welcome to live TV, everybody.
I'm still here.
Freebo, I guess you're fine
Yeah.
now. Maybe you should try to play something.
Yeah, I would.
Go
am
for
I
it.
Okay.
Yeah, see what happens.
All right, I will try and do something.
I mean,
All right,
it'll work or it won't. One of two things will happen.
I'll probably get to the best. Probably get to the bridge or the chorus and stuff.
Freebo.
Actually, yeah, I'll play something that. What?
Just keep your headphones in.
Can you
just
hear
in
me?
case. Yeah, just keep your headphones in case something
Okay.
goes wrong and we can tell you.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, my friend David Engels requested this song, and Wendy, you knew Eric Lowen, right?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, of Lowen and Navarro.
Yes, I
and,
worked very closely with those guys.
Oh yeah, and Eric was, I mean, just a beautiful guy, and actually he got ALS, for those people who don't know, and most people get ALS and they last for a year, 2, 3. He lasted for 8 or 9, and in his dying he became quite inspirational, just the way he handled it and acceptance. But about halfway through that challenge, I went to him and I said, Eric, I'd like to write a song with you, just to kind of help, kind of channel what you're going through. And this is a song we came up with. He had not really come to any conclusion, so the song really asked more questions then answers them. But I think the answer really was acceptance for him, which is just a huge life lesson. You know, it is what it is, and if you don't accept it, you're in such resistance and you're in pain. But once you do accept it, life becomes a little easier. So we wrote this song, and I'd like to share it with you. It's called "Something to Believe." There's a secret hides in kindness I have yet to understand, and a peace that I'm afraid I'll never know. Bless my heart, take my hand, lead me to the promised land. I'm pretty sure that's where I need to go. If I could pray and move a mountain, if I could dance and bring the rain, if love really made the world go round, and if drinking from a fountain could make me young again, would it open up my eyes to just how easy it would be if I could only find something to believe? There is mystery in silence every time I close my eyes. There's a mighty voice I wish that I could hear. Lift me up and bless my soul. Let the Spirit take control and let it wash away my every fear. If I could pray and move a mountain, if I could dance and bring the rain, if love really made the world go round, and if drinking from a fountain could make me young again, would it open up my eyes to just how easy it would be if I could only find something to believe? When it's finally time for me to leave this life behind, sooner than I might wish it would be, will I hear the angels sing? Will that stop my wondering? Will I finally feel like I am free? If I could pray and move a mountain, if I could dance and bring the rain, if love really made the world go round, and if drinking from a fountain could make me young again, oh, would it open up my eyes to just how easy it would be if I could only find something to believe. Oh God, if I could only find something to believe.
Beautiful. Freebo, I'm so glad.
Thank you.
So glad you played that song. A lot of nice comments in
Thank
the
you,
chat.
David, for requesting it.
Freebo, just one thing.
Thank you.
You were a little out of sync. I think you're a little.
Did I cut out at all?
No, the sound was actually beautiful, but the video and audio were out of sync. So we still think you should leave and reboot and come back.
Okay, I will leave and reboot
Or
and
just
come
just
back. I
leave
hope I
the
can make it back.
or just
We're
leave
not
the
trying to get rid of you. We love you.
No, we don't want you to go. We'll miss you.
Oh, thank you.
And
I know.
call
You want me to
back
come
Brandon.
back better, right?
build back better, Freebo.
Okay, build back better. I will build back better.
Could you
Okay, so you want me to leave the Zoom, or should I just?
I'm
reboot
sorry,
completely?
Wendy. I'm sorry. I want you to leave the Zoom and we'll talk about medieval history and then you can come back.
Yes.
Carry on with the show. Guys.
This will be exciting, Alice, because we know that all of our friends are tuning in to hear about medieval history.
I know.
I've bored many an audience to
Me too.
action, with all kinds of, with especially like in my podcast talking about native gardening, and I mean
Yeah.
people are like they know more about California native gardening than they need to know,
That is so
especially
great
if they're
though.
living in Ohio. But
Well, yeah, right. I'll never forget. I went to your talk at Far West, and you were just giving a talk about music history and all the amazing things that you had learned in your latest round of schooling. You seem to always be going back to school and learning more and more. And like you said, native plants. I mean, I just think it's so wonderful to keep being a student at any age, and I admire that. And I just loved it because you got into the medieval part with, how the chords, they figured out how to do different, you could probably say a lot more about it than I, because I didn't specifically study music, but I went up to you afterward and I was like, teacher, I know about
we were
those
so
things.
excited to meet a fellow traveler. Actually,
It's
when
like
I
she
first got,
understands.
I come from a family of real scholars. My father was a great TV composer. He wrote the Perry Mason theme, and he wrote the Bullwinkle Show. He wrote the early episodes of Star Trek and Twilight Zone, Have Gun Will Travel, Gunsmoke. He was one of the more successful television composers in the 60s, 50s, and 60s, and 70s. But he was also a tremendous music scholar. He was a classical musician first. And the way and my mother was also. So we grew up
Yeah.
with, early music. And when I say early, I'm not talking about Elvis Presley,
No,
folks.
I'm talking like
about-
Gregorian.
Oh, here's like
chants.
a really cool piece of music from like the 12th century. Like,
Oh yeah.
you're 12 years old and you're going, yeah, I really don't care.
Yeah.
But so I've often said, what could a poor girl do but become a blues musician at 16, which I did. I had to rebel, and I certainly wasn't going to be a classical musician. But lo and behold, when I was asked to finally start teaching classes, I think one of the first classes I taught was for Rocky Mountain folks. I taught one of their songwriting. They said, will you come and teach songwriting? Maybe this is why they've never asked me back. I spent weeks looking through the New Grove Encyclopedia of Music, which is like, 50 books wide, and studying the history of songwriting, because I figured, and I had seen my folks do this, I had seen it, and I was aware of and I had loved history, and I had taught my son, who was a big fan of punk music, and he thought it started in those days with Blink-182, and I had led him back to the Clash, of course, and my generation, Pete Townsend and Dylan.
Right.
So I studied the origins of songwriting just on my own, and it was so fascinating because I concluded that if you learn a form, let's say you get really excited and you go, I got nothing else to do tonight. I want to see what kind of songs, what was the structure of a song like in popular music before World War I in the United States? Okay, well, a lot of those songs came out of the late 1800s minstrelsy, and they had these things called verses in the front that you never heard again. It was, and if you've seen like musicals, Fred Astaire or something, and they do this song, and the first thing you see is this verse. Now we call a verse something different, but the guy goes, I've often wondered, what you think when you walk down the street, and there's this whole narrative, but to music. And then you never hear it again, because then he goes into, but you know, set my world on fire. So I taught my first students at Rocky Mountain. I said, if you find a form you like, you get to do it. So if you say, well, I really love this kind of form, but I wish I could do an introductory verse. I said, now as a songwriter, every form that you've ever heard, going all the way back to, and the first songs we know of are in like Sumerian, like 3000 BC. If you like that form, you can use it. So I had a girl who got really into Gregorian chant. She was an actor, and she was in my class, and she said, I'm going to do a Gregorian chant, but it's about me. So she came in, and her assignment.
Wow, that is so cool.
But she starts this Gregorian chant, and it was something like, I wonder if the camera is right. Will the lighting get my better side? And it was hysterical. It was like, oh my God.
That's such a good exercise. That I just love that.
And it's really fun. I mean, these are, if I had nothing but time, I mean, and I've done that when I've had classes. I said, okay, you know, all the punk or all the metal guys have to write a union protest song.
Right.
This is after explaining what that is. You know, all the union protest singers, you know, all the old folk singers have to write a hip hop tune.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the class, this was when the refugees taught at Cal State Fresno in the summer. The class assigned me a rap because I had been bad mouthing rap. So I did.
Can you perform it now?
Oh no.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought you were about to go into that. Like,
no.
And?
But you know, but Wendy, what it all says to me, I'm back, by the way. Thank you.
Hi,
guys.
Freebo.
But what
Welcome back.
what it all says to me, and it's just it's not just the craft of songwriting, but it's just about music, and it's just the studying, you know, of the art of music, and it involves, like so many things, the history, you know, and what came before that, how it all evolved. And especially in American music, because it all comes from somewhere else, but it's evolved into its own form. And I think it's so important. And again, it's what I respect about you, and what I try to do myself is to just continue to learn and continue to see, you know, what makes it all up, because to me, that's what's really wonderful about the richness of American music. It comes from so many different roots, from so many different places. And I think it's probably why it's so good. And I think it's really a shame when some of the younger generation thinks it has started right here and doesn't go back and study the history. I just think that's important. Don't you?
I agree. I just finished at Valley a brilliant class of music in American culture and in American history. And it starts at pre-Mayflower, you know, and it goes all the way to, I mean, we came all the way through American, you know, neoclassical music, Harry Partch and Varese and Copeland. And we got into rock and roll. We got all the way. Mm-hmm. And the thing that's so cool about American music is that all of our music came from somewhere else. But as Americans, and it's typical of the way we make art, we fused our own. What are the two greatest or the three greatest exports from America? The Constitution, baseball, and jazz. Maybe film, you know, I mean, but really, I always, you know.
And rock and roll.
Yeah, rock and roll, jazz. I mean, that's something that could only happen in the way we synthesized.
Right.
And, you know, that's our damnedest thing. That's like the best thing we do.
It's true. I've always thought that.
It's fascinating. And, you know, so my son is 32 and he's a teacher now. And he was very curious about all of that. I remember him at 13. I'd already started sort of just saying, hey, dude, if you like this, you'll really like that. And in the end, by the way, he turned me back around onto the last work of Joe Strummer from The Clash, because I turned Abe onto The Clash to say, actually, Blink-182 is drawing from The Clash, who are drawing from, you know, The Who are, you know, and the ultimate punk is, of course, Bob Dylan, like a Rolling Stone. But Abe then later, it came around because he said, have you heard the last work of Joe Strummer from The Clash? And I had not. And he turned me on to the Mescaleros. which is some of the greatest late pop music. I mean, where Joe Strummer was at the end of his life was so fantastic. It was so inspiring. And my kid, gave it back to me. So it's nice, when kids come to you and say, hey, how, like I remember a 15-year-old in one of my Taylor clinics saying, how come y'all's music is better than ours? And I said, because we grew up on FM radio that was completely free. Yeah, and we got an education free, but whether you and I went to college, I don't know if you did. I never asked you, but we certainly.
I did, but the college of hard knock and the school, exactly what you're talking about, of just being there for the last 50 years in the genre. I always think the best school is not actually, in college. It's not the academics. It's when you take some of that and you actually do it.
Well, you have to be,
is one thing, doing it's a whole other thing.
And you have to be exposed to it, like what you were saying. That when there's free FM radio and there's DJs on the air playing stuff that they love and are going to teach you about all these different artists and styles. And I had my parents and my grandmother's record collection growing up, and that made me different than my peers, because a lot of my peers had just whatever was on pop radio in, the late 90s and early 2000s, which is totally different than the collection at my parents' house of blues and folk and rock and all kinds of stuff, classical, and it's being at my mom's house again and seeing those records and playing them, because she still does. It's like, this is the stuff, like I wouldn't be who I am without this, I just wouldn't have a sense. And yeah.
And that,
Thank
by
God
the
you
way,
didn't get tainted, Alice.
I mean, I did also. I had like my CD collection of like Destiny's Child, and like I still liked some of that stuff, but it wasn't in my mind it was like a separate, it was like, there's pop music, like it's fun, sure, like this is what my friends listen to, and then there's like the stuff that like breaks my heart and like puts it back together, and that's like the real music. I
mean, sometimes pop music, ascends to high art. I mean, you look at Steely Dan and you just go, I am not worthy. You look at some of the work, even Dylan, who is the Shakespeare of our time, even he, or the Rolling Stones and some of the things that they have done, it's high art. And one of the things I was going to say is that we indeed had teachers. Freebo and I came from a time when every night on the radio, you had these DJs who were teaching you. They would say, this is Ravi Shankar, and he's playing classical Indian music. And you'd go, wow, man, that's really great. And then he'd follow it with, this is Johnny Cash. And he'd follow it with, this is a new Taj Mahal thing. This is Janis Joplin.
Or Miles Davis.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
Wendy, can you play one of those songs that has all these different influences in it?
Yes.
Oh, let's think for a minute. What has those influences? Well, my songs are so pure. I was going to play. Well, yeah, I'll do something. This is a fun song, and it's literary. I can't even explain it. I can't explain it. Sorry, guys. So here's a tune that is based on blues, but is not based on blues. I sound like, the Zen thing. The mountain is the mountain, and then it's not the mountain, and then it's the mountain again. But this is a really fun tune, and it draws on my love of roots music, but it also draws on my love of lyric writing and storytelling and abstraction, which I don't get into too much, and I've said enough. Was raised upright. I'm a hometown girl. My mama before me in my sweater and pearls. I always thought I knew just how my life would go, till the day I saw the plates on New Mexico. It had bright red flames painted down the side and a sign that read, God bless this ride. The bluest eyes I'd ever seen looking out at me into my dreams. Well, there's a rear view mirror, but you can't look back in that New Mexico Cadillac. It had fuzzy dice, mama. It had the white wall tires. It had the dual exhaust. Well, it sounded like a singing every time he talked. He told me everything, baby, that you will ever need. We'll be sitting next to you in the driver's seat. Yeah, the highway runs from here to forever, smooth as silk and soft as leather. Nobody ever moved me like that. It was 0 to 60 in 8 seconds flat. Well, there's no reverse, ain't no going back in that New Mexico Cadillac. I said, it's not the big 350 or the shiny chrome. She said, sometimes love can't be explained. It can't even find you in the outside lane. When I climbed in beside him, never did look back. In that New Mexico Cadillac.
I love it.
I played that way. I'm trying to think where and when I played that with you more than once, but
oh yes,
I love
you
that
have.
song.
Where did you guys play together?
Where did we play together?
You know, we've played at Kulak's, we played at countless folk alliances, we've played we played, you know, we knew each other since like 1973 or something, 74.
When did you guys meet? What was like the first memory?
What I remember is a Mexican restaurant, my very first, called Pancho's in Santa Monica, which is no longer there. That's what I remember. And I remember your house in on Topanga Canyon Boulevard in Topanga Canyon.
In Topanga.
I remember.
Now, Pancho's. Yeah. Let's talk about Pancho's. Yeah. So,
what used to go down at Pancho's?
There's so much history. It's too bad we don't have time. But briefly, there was a generation of guys closer to your age, Freebo, who came out from Arizona. Among them, my ex-husband, the great Ken Waldman, who is the reason I'm a musician today. My first ex-husband. And he was very close to Linda Ronstadt because they were Arizonans. So Linda was allowed to come to Los Angeles if she went with Ken. She tells the story differently, but in fact, it was Ken who drove her out. And there were these other guys too. And they all met Kenny Edwards. Bobby Kimmel, Kenny Edwards, and Linda Ronstadt formed the Stone Ponies. and Ken Waldman, Malcolm Terrence, who's still up in Berkeley and one of the great counterculture figures, and a bunch of other guys, Bill Taxterman. They were all hanging out. And I was a kid. I was a student of Ken Waldman. So they met Kenny Edwards, and he joined the Stone Ponies. And Kenny, and he grew up in Venice. You know, I think this was so fascinating. Kenny learned to swim in the ocean.
Wow.
Really, I mean, that's exotic for a girl from the valley.
Yeah.
But Kenny had all his life, he had this uncanny ability to find these great restaurants. And Kenny found the Lucky U, which was a really funky bar right by the freeway on Santa Monica Boulevard. It had 2 booths and then a bar, and it was a Mexican working bar. And those guys, Pancho and his family, then, because all the musicians began to discover this, and we're talking before the 70s, we're talking maybe 1970, then he opened Pancho's. And Pancho's, which was down the street from McCabe's, when McCabe's was there.
Right.
And Pancho's was, I mean, I have friends that I went to high school with who just like last week were saying, damn, what I wouldn't give for, to go to Pancho's. Greg Prestopino was talking about Pancho's.
Yeah.
Peter Bernstein, all of us. It's like, and I just said, oh God, I wish I had the recipe book. We lived there. And it was
cheese
real
enchiladas
Mexican
and Dos Equis.
Oh, wow.
That was what I'd have.
Oh, so that we must have met.
You guys are making me hungry.
And I first I met you. You had a huge fro, but I really focused on you. I probably had a crush on you.
Really?
I'm imagining so, but
well, Wendy, I gotta say, for all the people out there, because I had a little bit of a crush on you as well. And and now you tell me. I mean, you never know what we could have created. You know?
Could you imagine our children? Of course, you haven't seen Abe in a while, but Abe,
it would
the
be
hair would
like
this
Frank
big.
Zappa's son. Yeah, and I never did sleep with Frank Zappa. Anyhow, I remember you from, of course, the early Bonnie Raitt days. I sold a lot of records in Boston. My first album came in '73, and I spent a great deal.
It's a great record.
Thank you. And it was quite an experience. And I remember seeing you guys and getting to know Bonnie and just being awestruck. Also, being a blues refugee, which I was, because I had become a blues musician to escape the fact that my parents were playing live chamber music in the house. What was wrong with me? My sister loved it. To me, it was like, man, the day I saw Taj Mahal solo, I went, I've died and gone to heaven. But anyhow, I remember you from those days, and we've crossed paths, Alice. When Freebo began to write songs, we did Highland Grounds, didn't we?
We did indeed.
With Billy Block.
Wendy, I hate to interrupt you, but it's almost 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock.
I know. I have no idea how that happened.
We're having so much, but we're about to go off the air.
So we should say
WPVM FM in Asheville, North Carolina. So what we want to do is tell the folks that we're going to continue this on Zoom and Facebook and YouTube. We'll say goodbye to the folks in Asheville and thank them and tell them that we'll be back next week with the great Leland Sklar.
Oh, yes.
Just one of the best bass players and probably the most recorded bass player ever. So that'll be an interesting discussion. I don't know how the music is going to work. We'll be in different places.
There'll be more of this.
The stories will be unreal.
The stories are really half the fun of the show.
They really
more
are.
than half. And then the following week...
go ahead, Alice.
The following week, our final show, we have 2 amazing artists, Mary Gaucher and Jamie Harris, are going to be on with us. I'm so excited about that. So
awesome,
finishing strong. But yeah, we're gonna sign
Alice,
off the radio.
Tell people how to stay with us, would you please?
Yeah. So as always, the meeting information to join the after party is already in the chat. So you just have to open up your Zoom app and enter the meeting ID and the passcode. We just can't give out the link on social media or we get hackers apparently. So open
we have
up the app.
a free giveaway, everybody knows, right?
Yep, we're going to be doing our cable giveaway and we're going to say hi to you guys and play. Hopefully we'll play a little more music. Maybe we'll just keep talking.
We need to do that.
And yeah, so we'll see you guys soon. Or you can just keep watching on Facebook or YouTube. But we would love if you would join backstage because we're having a grand old time and you can join us.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to go anywhere. We just continue. Just want to let you know we're saying goodbye to Asheville. Goodbye, Asheville. We love you.
Bye, Asheville. We do love you.
We do love you, Asheville. Good night. Maybe, Freebo, maybe I'll play a song just to
Why don't you?
get that energy back in here. And then, and before I do, I just want to mention now that we're off the air, folks, we know we say this every week, but I'm just going to say it again.
That's important.
So appreciate your donations to support the show. We split the money 3 ways. We get to pay Brandon. We get to pay the artists that do the show. So we so appreciate it. We love performing for you, whether you can give a donation or not. But if you are able to, PayPal, Venmo, send a check, however you want to do it. You can use a credit card on my website, and we thank you. And you are really helping keep us going. So thanks for that. And I'm going to play a song.
All right.
What are you going to play, Alice?
I think I'll do Twilight, keep it
Twilight.
Keep it classic.
Alice, do you want me to let people in now or wait till after your song?
Oh yeah, sure, let them in.
Yeah, let's let them in now.
Let them in.
Then we can see them as they see us.
Okay. Oh, wait. Maybe I should play... Oh, it's been a while. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to save that. If it comes around again, I won't set myself up. Can never say you're going to play a song that you haven't played in a while. It's just a bad idea, but it would be such a good one to play for Wendy. I'll wait. Well, you guys have, I'm sure, heard this song. It's just the first cut on my last record called Visions that Freebo produced, and we recorded in Bakersfield, California with a great band, a different band than will be on this next record, but that's how Freebo and I started working together a few years ago, was that he invited me to come out to California and record my album with him, and here we are today. So I guess we had a good time with that. Twilight. I know a dirt road in the late afternoon where the shade and the sunlight gather in pools. There are trees to the right, twisted and wild. To my left is the sea like a glimmering eye. Well, I'm not the first one, and I won't be the last, who's come to this crossroads and breezed on past, with my destination my only concern. 1 foot on the gas as the yellow light turns. And there's nothing like being alone at twilight. The ocean and I each approaching high tide, held aloft on the waves of my pride. I'm better off walking alone at twilight. My lover is steady, and he tells me be still and take a deep breath. He's just hoping I will, but my mind keeps on racing till I'm far out of sight, at the end of the road on the threshold of night. And there's nothing like being alone at twilight. The ocean and I each approaching high tide, held aloft on the waves of my pride. Better off walking alone at twilight.
the sun's gone down and the twilight is past. That magic hour, it never lasts. It's a long strand of pearls, one that I'll never own. And the answers I seek are the smallest of stones. So I work till I'm tired, then I lay down to rest. And that takes just a bit of this weight off my chest. But the years stretch before me, I admit that it's true. And this restless pursuit is what I'm called to do. And there's nothing like being alone at twilight. The ocean and I each approaching high tide, held aloft on the waves of my pride. I'm better off walking alone. Yeah, I hate to leave being alone at twilight.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thanks,
Your voice
everybody.
sounds so good.
Thanks, Wendy. I'm glad to hear that coming through this little USB mic. We made it work. Thank you. I wanted to say, I just thought of this before I started the song, but I am recording one of Kenny's songs on the Muscle Shoals record. And
What are you doing?
I played it at your house when I did Folk Stage, but it's Bad Medicine.
Oh, yeah.
And it's sounding,
Folk
we
scene.
actually, did I say Folk Stage? I'm sorry, Folk Scene.
Yeah, folk scene. Yeah.
We were there in September 2019 to just kind of do this exploratory session that turned out to be so great that we decided to go back. But we cut it then, and we have the track already, and I'll send it to you. It's just,
Oh,
I love it.
wonderful.
I love it so much. I'd love to hear you speak a little bit about your experience with him and your work together and Brindle, because I know folks want to hear about that. There've been a couple comments in the chat, and I'm just such a huge fan. I came to his music through Freebo, introduced me to his record, Resurrection Road, and I just think he's amazing. I mean, it's like one of my top 5 records, period, for me at this point, and I listen to it all the time, and I just feel like I missed getting to see him, and it makes me so sad. I feel like through his music I just appreciate him as a human being so much. So just wanted
It's funny.
to share that.
I was gonna play a song that I wrote that concerns him.
Oh, would you please? And then
I
talk a little
will.
bit about him.
Let me just say that I met Kenny when I was 15. I saw him with the Stone Ponies standing up there. And I didn't see Linda, I didn't see Bobby, I just saw Kenny Edwards, and I had already begun to play guitar and to sing and to write, and I was doing a lot of blues. I hadn't met Taj yet, because I didn't have no, I think I did have a driver's license. I must have been, no, I was 15. And I saw Kenny, and I just said, I have to make music with that guy.
Oh my gosh.
And I did. Subsequently, this would have been 1967, 66. Subsequently, Linda was was broken solo out of the Stone Ponies and began to make solo records. And Kenny was playing with her on those early records. And I had met Linda through Ken Waldman. And then, I had a band at my school whose members were Andrew Gold, great young, brilliant musician, lunatic, whose father was Ernest Gold, who wrote the theme from Exodus. The other partner was Peter Bernstein, whose father was Elmer Bernstein, who wrote The Magnificent Seven and many other things. And my father was Fred Steiner. And so we were these three composers' kids, and we had a trio. And right after I graduated school, immediately after dropping out of college, I was working in a restaurant and bar in Santa Monica, and a guy named Chuck Plotkin came in. And he had already discovered a brilliant black young composer named Steve Ferguson, who is still living and who's a colleague and one of the greatest musicians ever. And we'll talk about him next time. But Chuck Plotkin, I was waiting tables and singing. And Chuck came up to me and he said, I want to produce you. I'm starting to make records. Will you make a record with me? And I just BS'd him. I said, no, I won't, but my band will. And he said, oh, who's your band? At this time, Kenny was already playing with Carla Bonoff and her sister, Lisa. I was playing with Peter and Andrew. We were just out of high school. And so I said, Andrew Gold and Kenny Edwards and Carla Bonoff. And Chuck said, oh, great. Let's do that. So because we were all playing McCabe's and everything. And I got to them and I said, dudes, let's do this. So we put Brindle together. So I started playing music with Kenny. I met him in 66, 67, and by 70 or 69, actually, 68, I was playing with him. And I played with him. I worked with him on all the early Ronstadt records. I toured with him with Ronstadt in 80. And when I came back from Nashville, I was pretty much an emotional wreck in 1991 when I came back. And I happened to wind up at a party where Kenny and Andrew and Carla were. And I said, let's put it back together. And we did. We put Brindle back together because Brindle had formed, and we did make a record for A&M, and it was terrible, and it was a terrible experience. We wound up playing the Carolina Lanes, 5 sets a night, strip club, bowling alley, coffee shop, and discotheque.
Oh, God.
By the airport. I bet you
Ouch.
remember that place for the other stories. But we got back together in 92 and we made 3 albums. And Kenny and I, from that point on, until close to the year he died, we worked constantly. I was devastated. When he passed, I thought about giving up music. Because he had meant the world to me. He was my brother. And a lot of our music, people are recording today, and we produced together and we had a great time, and we also had quite a bit of friction. So it was a very, very difficult relationship for me, but I cherish him. And I heard from a friend 2 weeks after he passed, a friend of his wrote to me and said, I just want you to know something because I don't think you do. He said, Kenny said to me that you were his greatest collaborator. And I broke down, of course, in tears. And I, losing Kenny and then losing Andrew. And then 2 weeks after that, I lost my father. This was all in the space of 6 months. It took me a while to get back on my feet musically. But I've drawn so much strength from that and from him. And, it was incredible.
Yeah, he really was. And I was going to say, Wendy, what's really interesting to hear that, obviously Brindle, I mean, with 4 incredibly talented, not just musicians, but singers, songwriters, producers, very strong heads. It doesn't surprise me. That you guys had trouble on your first record, and then got back together. But to me, the real tragedy of Kenny, and he obviously made a lot of, and I can relate to it in a way because I didn't come into my own music until I was really in my 40s. I literally didn't write a song.
Yeah.
And you watch me kind of do that in like a deer in the headlights. And Kenny was way ahead of me. But having only made 2 records and listening to those 2 solo records of Kenny, that's where he really got to get out of the shadow. And certainly no disparagement to you or to Carla or to Andrew or Linda. I mean, he was Linda Ronstadt's bass player for a long time. And I can relate to that.
You
I was
definitely can relate.
A lot of people's bass player for a long time. But when you're the bass player, that's your job. And you play the bass, and your job is, and you don't really have a whole lot of things you can really say. You can make suggestions, but people want you to play the damn bass. You know, make
Yes.
me sound better, and we do. We make you sound better. But to have Kenny eventually get out from behind that and say, you know what, I'm going to take all these ideas in my head and I'm going to put them out there, just like I've been doing for the last number of years, and to hear what he did. I mean, I should only aspire to what he got to on those 2 records, particularly Resurrection Road. It's absolutely, as Alice says, absolutely brilliant. And that, to me, I think is the greatest tragedy, that it took him so long to finally get his own thing. And when he finally did, he died. But at least he left those 2 records. Those are
Wendy,
my
did
thoughts.
you write any of those songs with him on that record, or either of them?
Yes, I think he cut. I forget on the first record. Flowers in the field are fading.
Oh yeah.
We wrote that with Freddie Quella.
And
Only
Freddie
the way I love you.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Freddie produces records. I thought Freddie did a brilliant job.
Yes.
They are so minimal and so well done. And of course, Kenny's voice is just spectacular. But those records are beautifully produced.
Kenny was
particularly the
greatly
second one.
influenced by Chris Whitley. We all kind of discovered Chris Whitley's wonderful solo records at that time, you know, right after Big Sky Country and beyond. And Kenny had been writing songs a little bit longer than you. And Carla recently, because Kenny and I had talked about being a duo like 3 times, you know, and it broke my heart that he kept turning me down finally. He would say, yes, let's do it, and then no. And Carla and I talked recently, and she put my heart at ease. She said, you know, he really wanted to find his own voice. And it's like I went, duh, I get it, you know, and I know I know some of our finest work we wrote together. I mean, we wrote Concrete River. We wrote a lot of songs that are, you know, iconic. People record them. John and Andrea just did Resurrection Road.
Really?
We have a slammin'. It's a nasty.
Oh wow.
Oh man, I'd love to hear
Cool.
that.
Yeah, well, you will. It's great. And, you know, and a lot of, I wrote so much with him and it was so easy. And I have, thankfully, all of his hard drives. There's some unfinished work as well.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Somebody had
anyhow.
just asked also in the chat whether Brindle's live recording from Russ and Julie's house concert would ever be re-released.
Yes, I apologize. I will. I'm sorry.
Can't
Sorry,
wait to hear
yes. Yeah, I'm the guy.
Is that
She's
well
the guy.
recorded? Is that well recorded, Wendy? Was it a multi-track or was it just happen to be a good
Yeah, I
mix?
have it. Yeah, and we mixed
Oh
it.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
great.
you should put that out with all.
Yeah, no, we
with all
did.
four
And
of them.
too.
I'll talk to Carla about it. We gotta do it. It's me, guys. If you want to yell at somebody, go, Waldman, get off your butt. It's
Oh,
not like
come
I'm not
on.
working.
Yeah.
There's actually too much to do.
So much to do.
I know
yeah.
the feeling. Well,
So Wendy, why don't you play that song you were going to play before
before she does, if I may,
okay.
we
Yes,
must
please.
not forget the giveaway. So we
giveaway.
must talk about Cordial Cables, our sponsors. Every week since last fall, they have been so good to us. These are premium German engineered instrument cables and mic cables that just sound excellent. They have a lifetime guarantee. They are made with 99% copper, so they don't have very little resistance. They sound, you don't hear any unpleasant background noise through them or anything. Great for the studio, great for live shows. So we are going to be giving one away and a t-shirt. And we chose a number from between 1 and 100. Actually, Wendy chose a secret number, and Wendy will be getting a cable too. She doesn't have to guess. So yes, so put your please put
People are
your
putting them in. I see
numbers
that.
in the chats, and Brandon will keep an eye on them all. Oh, and a question for you, Wendy. Somebody said, when is your new CD coming out? I love The Train is Leaving, your new single.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, a little song about death. But with really cool stuff. Very proud of the string quartet in the middle, and I played the guitar solos too with my son's encouragement. We're either, it depends on, I lost a month because of appendicitis, which I had a month ago, and so we were shooting for September 1st. We'll try to get it. If not, it'll be first quarter of the new year. And this is a song from that. It's very self-evident.
Okay.
Late last night, I heard a tune that only you could write. Walked out alone in the cold full moon, hung my head and cried, hung my head and cried. They make it look easy to stand your ground and let those bridges burn, but you never really know till it comes around. Everybody gets a turn. Everybody gets a turn. If I could see you one more time, oh, there's nothing I'd hold back. Every part of this broken heart of mine, oh, but it don't work like that. So you who made all of us, the ones still here, the ones long gone, there's just one question on my mind tonight. How do I go on? How do I go on? If I had known how fast it goes, I would have told you every day. You never really see it till your chance is gone. Oh, and that's the price we pay. So you who watch all of everything, the earth, the stars, and beyond, there's just one thing I can't figure out. How do I go on? How do I go on? How do I go on? Thank you guys.
Powerful words, but beautiful voicings in your chords. Just,
Thank
I
you.
mean, just, yeah, really lovely.
Wendy, that was just beautiful.
Thanks, guys.
I love, well, my father died when I was 18, so I've written a lot about death myself, and I always appreciate hearing, you know, another way of saying a lot of the things that I try to say in all kinds of different ways too. So that's beautiful.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for doing that one.
I kind of brought the room down. It's
I'm
like,
like,
hey,
so
okay, but now listen. Seriously,
everybody's
to
gonna
have,
have
like,
to.
storytelling hour, you know.
Okay. Here's a lighthearted question for you from the audience. Wendy, do you still have cats?
Oh, okay. I'm not a crazy cat lady, but it turns out I am.
But
But I'm not. Now, Carla Bonoff, now there's a crazy cat lady. Sadly, I have to tell you that we had to put Stan down yesterday, and that's on my Facebook. But here's the deal: I had dogs and cats when I was a kid, and then when I came back from Nashville in my 40s, we wound up with some cats, and then one year, it was like the year after Abe's bar mitzvah, all the cats passed, and I decided to go adopt 2 kittens. And I lived in Encino, and my cats were outdoor cats, indoor, outdoor. So I went to Petco, where they let you adopt cats. And I wrote truly in the application, yes, I let my cats go outside. So they said, you can't have cats. Well, now, wait a minute. I told you the truth. In other words, if I'd lied, I could have gotten these cats, and you would be no the wiser. So then I must have had a lot of time on my hand, because then I said, well, where do I get cats? And they said, well, go to the pound. I went to the pound, and the pound said, we give all our cats to the rescue places. So I wound up volunteering at Petco for months, sitting there every Saturday morning. It's like, hello, you know, like I must have really had time to kill, bottle feeding babies and everything. Okay.
oh,
So one day this girl comes in, and she comes right up to me. She says, I hear you're looking for kittens. And it was like a drug deal. I said, yeah, but they won't let me have them because I mistakenly told the truth on my form. And the gal who was next to me, who was a true crazy cat lady, Joy, said, oh no, she'll be a great cat parent. Yes, they let them go outside, but you can. So the girl said, listen, I'm over my limit in my apartment on Sepulveda Boulevard. I'm only allowed 11, and I have 16. And dogs. It's just cats. So I said, I'm on my way. She said they're the children of feral cats, because there was a feral colony. So Abe and I went we drove to, I was like, oh, cool. You know, we can go there. So we walk up to this apartment, and it's like filled with cages. I mean, woo-hoo. So she's got all these cages and these dogs and cats and rabbits and everything. And she's got the mama cat in the bathroom. She wouldn't let us see the mama cat. She says, I have 5 kittens. And the little kittens come walking out. There were 4 gray tabbies and 1 red tabby. And I'm looking they're 3 weeks old. They're like this, and they come out, and I'm looking at it. And my 14-year-old son says, no, mother, no. And I said, but Abe, how can we break up the set? Who do we leave behind? And he said, so I just said, I'll take them all.
oh my God.
We took all 5 of these friggin' 3-week-old kittens. We bottle fed them, and we raised them. And they were the children of ferals. And the vet who approved them and said they're okay said that feral babies are so sweet, and they were incredible. And Stan, who passed yesterday, was the last of that crew, 17. But I had gotten a kitten to keep him company. And this kitten, Janie Thorne and her friend Wendy Conrad got me this kitten. You know how you ask your friend, like, is it a high energy cat? Because I need kind of mellow. And they go, oh no, sweet, little energetic. Okay, swinging from the chandeliers, cat. But now we're in a position where we have to get a kitten for the kitten because she was very good. She took care of Stan till his last day yesterday.
Oh.
So I'm out there looking for an orange tabby, and Stan's on her, and so that was a long story. But at least you know that it's easier to adopt children than it is to adopt cats. 'Cause I've done both.
Wow. I have to say I had a similar experience with my mom and my dad always had cats and we let them outside too. And I remember having a very similar situation. We have a big backyard here and somebody at one point we were trying to get a kitten and it was the same thing. It was like, nope, you must swear that you will never allow them to go outside. It's like, well, what's the fun in that? They love it out there. Yes, it's a little dangerous.
Yeah,
Well,
that's up to them.
Coyotes.
Here, where I've just moved, I've been up here in the new place 6 months. I'm up on a mountaintop just below Topanga Canyon. They can't go out.
Yeah.
There's like the coyotes just
coyotes.
roam.
They're just
The coyotes
waiting
come and sit down on your deck
for
and
a
go, "Hey,
snack."
man, yeah, bring us something." So
Hey, does anybody in the audience want to say hi or ask a question of Wendy or me or Freebo? Dawn.
Don Clune.
Hello.
You
Unmute
have to-
yourself.
you have to unmute Don.
We can't hear you.
Don's pad. There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. How you doing?
I just realized, Freebo, take a look at this shirt.
What is it?
Oh, wait, let me put you on speaker.
Oh, is it backwards on your screen?
Oh, I see it.
Oh, no. Let me put it on speaker. Oh, it's Zydeco Party Band. How about that?
Yeah,
Wow.
just happened to pull that one out of the closet tonight.
Great.
But I did want to say, actually, I met Wendy one time, and it was probably when Brindle got back in the 90s, early 90s, at Philadelphia Folk Festival.
yes,
And
yes, indeed.
Mason Wilkinson introduced us. He was whatever he was doing for you at the time. But I
He
met
was
the
our road manager.
whole group at the time, and it was real quick. But that's the only time I ever said hello to Wendy. So anyway, nice to see you again.
Hello, nice to see you. I love Mason Wilkinson. Oh,
And anyhow, I just wanted to say how much I'm enjoying the show and a lot of your stories, Wendy, and the repartee going back. Not just the music, as I always do every week when I tune in. So it's a great night for that, and I'm really enjoying that. So, and I know the last time I zoomed, I think was Shannon in a dress, and I upset her a little by something I said. So I haven't been zooming lately. But
Oh, no. You're fine.
I decided to be nicer tonight, I guess.
Well, as Shakespeare once said, to zoom or not to zoom? That's the question.
Nice to see you, Don. Looking forward
Yeah,
to seeing
Don.
you in Philly.
Yeah, Jack Rickenbach's on here. Alice and I
Yeah,
are
it's
going to
gonna
do a
be
show
fun.
in Philadelphia, and Don's going to open up. Don
I
and I
think-
are old buddies.
Maybe I'm not sure, but
What do you mean? You're not sure? Yeah, you're opening up, pal.
he might be on.
You better start practicing. It's happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll see you guys on the 25th, if not before.
We'll see you soon. Yeah.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
And Wendy, Alan Roath says, "Hi, Wendy. Love you, dear."
hi, Alan. Yes,
He's
I
being
follow
shy.
you. I see what's going on. Yes, thank you. I saw that.
Oh, good,
Thanks so
good,
much.
good.
And Wendy, you know, Wendy Conrad is watching.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
She was in the
she's
chat, yep.
Yeah.
And I think
you
it's
mentioned her
time,
name.
perhaps, to announce the winner tonight.
The winner. We have a winner.
Drum roll. We have a winner. They are a dynamic duo. Their names are David and Leanie.
Yeah, they picked number 18, and
Is
the
he
number
hearing
was
me right now?
7.
I see him, and he's
And
not
the number was 7.
reacting.
Come on, react.
David
You can do it.
Engels.
Come on.
Where is he's? I don't know what he's doing. I can see you, David. Well, you won tonight. When he comes back, we will tell him.
congratulations.
David is probably tweeting something. David, can you hear us?
Now we know that he
We
keeps us
see
on
you.
mute.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. Oh,
they
now
guessed-
now he's putting it together.
they
Somebody's
guessed
probably letting him
18 and the
know.
number was
David.
7. So
Yeah.
Freebo.
Nobody went lower than 18. Interesting.
No, isn't that funny? Should we finish up with a song or two and then sign off for the night? What do you want to do?
I'd actually like to do a song because it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to, buddy. I did a show the other night, a band show. A friend of mine had a party out in Malibu, and he had a band, and they asked me if I would come and play, and so I sent the band some MP3s and charts, and played 5-6 songs. The band was great. It was so nice to get back to being with people. Everybody was vaccinated. I felt perfectly safe. To play live music again and have people be listening and just to have the interaction. It was just beautiful. But I left my mic stand there by mistake, and so I went and picked it up yesterday in the valley, in the North Valley, Wendy, up on Sherman Way, kind of like in, I think Sun Valley is called. And
Yes.
it's pretty industrial along there, along that street. This guy, by the way, you ever been to Disney Hall?
Yes.
I mean, the Disney Hall is a Frank Gehry building where the L.A. Philharmonic plays. It's phenomenal, and it's got all this amazing wood in it. It's designed just for perfect sound. Well,
One of the
he's
great
guy-
organs. Yeah, one of the best organs. The new organ is incredible.
I've seen it. I haven't heard it. I'd love to hear it. But all the wood in there, he's the guy who put that wood together. Actually created the wood. He didn't design the concept. That was designed by sound engineers, a Japanese guy apparently. But he showed me, took me to the warehouse. It looked like the belly of a whale.
Awesome.
The inside, I mean, just huge. And he they put all the stuff up. Anyway, I was there with him to pick this up, and driving along Sherman Way, it was nothing but cars, old cars and RVs with homeless people in them. And there's so much homelessness in LA. Hey, if I was a homeless person, I'd probably pick LA to be there too. It's nice and warm, but it's just amazing. You see all the tents in so many places in West Hollywood and downtown, Skid Row, but I didn't realize that there were so many people living in their cars and in old RVs, and literally for blocks, all the parking places along the road were taken with the homeless people. And
True.
I mean, it's such a problem. And it's not just because all these people are crazy. I mean, a lot of vets and people who serve the country and people who just fell under the economic radar. So I don't know what the solution is, but it sure in hell is a problem, and a serious problem, and it's just never really talked about, except when people complain like, oh, all these tents, all these people. But I think it really needs some sort of a national agenda to really tackle it. And I know it's not going to be easy, and this is not a conservative or a liberal thing. I mean, these are human beings. So I don't mean to get in a soapbox about it, but I would like to share this song that I wrote about that. I didn't write it yesterday. I've written it some time ago, but and Alice and I usually do this as a duet. This is the way the song was written, and it's from the homeless person's point of view. Several different characters in it. Wrote it with my friend Karen Taylor Good in Nashville. When there's no place like home. I used to be your neighbor. I had my job and I had my pride. But they shipped them both to China, and it ripped a hole inside. They took my house last summer. Now I'm hungry, cold, and scared. And I'm wondering, does anybody care? When there's no place like home, and you're out on your own, You feel abandoned and alone when there's no place like home. I used to be a hero, the strong, the proud, the few. When duty called, I stood up tall for the red, white, and blue. But no hero's welcome waited when my damaged soul returned. Uncle Sam don't give a damn, that's what I learned. When there's no place like home and you're out on your own, you feel abandoned and alone when there's no place like home. Please don't look right past me, a simple smile could help me make it through. I could be you. If home is where the heart is, then where's the heart supposed to go? When your living room's a cardboard box and your address is Skid Row. If a man's home is his castle and the place where he is king, what happens when he loses everything? When there's no place like home and you're out on your own, you feel abandoned and alone when there's no place like home. When there's no place like home. There's no place like home. Another nice happy song, Wendy.
Oh, man.
Good song, very true.
Yeah.
Thank you, Freebo.
But somebody's got to talk about it, right?
Yeah, it's got to be said, and it's for
song.
sure. It is so evident in LA. I mean, I grew up in New England, and it's not as much like fully in your face all the time. When you're in LA,
Yeah.
you cannot not think about it. It's
Yeah.
everywhere that you go, and it's the differences between the haves and the have-nots are just so right in front of you. It's just, yeah,
And it's really
amazing.
gotten, I mean, it's amazing how much worse it's gotten in the last, like literally the last 4 years. It's just, I mean, it just feels like it's tripled.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I
And
don't
you're
know what the answer is.
surprised.
What's that?
And you're surprised how?
Right.
No, I just look the economic disparity in this country. It's really too bad, you know. And like I said, it's unfortunate it's become political because it shouldn't be. But
It shouldn't
you
be.
know, I think it's just a society would be so much more happy if it was just a little bit more evenly divided, just a little bit. You know, I think even the rich people would be happier because they wouldn't have to hide. They wouldn't have to build walls as big and as strong. You know, I think there'd be less anger. So that's my little soapbox for now.
Well, that's what we pray for, folks.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
everybody-
what we musicians are working towards in our own crazy way.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
true.
we're lucky we get to play music. You know, we really are, and we really appreciate all y'all. Plural of y'all is all y'all. We really appreciate you know coming and hanging with us. You know, every
Yeah.
Wednesday. Like Alice said, we only got 2 more. I mean, we're partly giving it up because you know we're going out on the road for 2.5 months. And if you're not on our email list, please, my email is freebo@freebomusic.com.
And if you want to sign up for mine, just go to my website and hit the contact form. There's a mailing list. Sign up on there.
And we'll tell you, we're playing lots of shows all the way across. On the way, just got one in Kansas City and St. Louis and Chicago. We're
driving to Muscle Shoals, y'all.
Driving to Muscle Shoals by way of Chicago, Nashville, South Carolina, and then back again. And then anyway,
so all the dates are up on my website, alicehowe.com. And you guys, if you sign up for the mailing list or you sign up for my Patreon, I'm giving updates on there too. But definitely check out the list of dates, and you'll see that a lot of them are house concerts, but most of those you can attend. You just have to click on the specific listing. Like if you see somewhere you want to go, and it'll take you to a page where it'll show you the contact information for the host.
Yeah,
so
you get in touch with the host.
You just have to contact directly. Yeah.
But anyway,
Wendy,
like I say, that's the main reason why we're not doing these shows anymore, because it's just going to be too much. And whether we'll take them up again, I don't know. It's been a great way, Alice, to
it sure has
pass the pandemic, so to speak.
It's gotten us through, and for me to be able to spend an evening chatting with somebody like you, Wendy, and just get to ask questions and share songs and shoot the shit, as it were, is really fun. So
thank you very much. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for
Wendy,
coming. Thanks for
so
spending
compelling,
this time.
man.
Yeah, you really.
We could have talked for
we
hours.
could keep going, but we will stop. So we love you all,
man.
and we'll
love
see
to
you next
everybody.
week.
Okay. Thanks,
Take care,
everybody.
Thank you so much for joining us, everybody.
Good night. Thanks,
great
Wendy.
to see you too.
Okay.
Bye,
you.
Freebo.
Bye.
Bye, Alice. Bye,
Bye.
Wendy. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Take care.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks, Brandon. Bye.